Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here again, sifting through the noise, stacking up insights, basically giving you that shortcut to being genuinely well informed. Our mission today, well, it's to uncover a pretty powerful acquisition strategy. It's one a lot of people seem to overlook, actually, and it really shows how sometimes the best tools in your kit aren't always the most obvious ones. Today, we are diving deep into the world of seller financing, specifically how it applies to acquiring mobile home parks. We've pulled together a really fascinating stack of insights here, and they highlight why this approach isn't just like another way to buy a property. It can often be the single most powerful tool you have. It's a strategy that, well, it builds relationships, it offers solutions that, frankly, traditional banks just cannot match. So, our goal here is to show you how you can position seller financing not as some kind of last-ditch effort, but really as the ideal outcome, a win-win for both you and the seller. And to really bring this home, let's think about someone, let's call her Eleanor Vance. Okay. Eleanor's 70. She's owned Maplewood Estates mobile home park for, say, 35 years. She's worked hard, seen it all. And now, honestly, she's tired. Her dream is, I don't know, long cruises through the Mediterranean, relaxing. But the thought of actually selling all that paperwork, the huge potential tax hit from getting a lump sum, and then figuring out what on earth to do with all that cash, it's just overwhelming her. It's stopping her from booking that cruise. So this deep dive is for people like Eleanor, but also for you, the smart buyer who's ready to offer her a better way forward.
That's a perfect setup. And what's really fascinating, I think, is how much this approach just fundamentally shifts the whole dynamic of the sale.
Yeah.
It really moves beyond just a simple transaction, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It becomes about using creative financial strategies to, unlock value, solve real problems for someone like Eleanor, and get outcomes that traditional methods like going to a bank, they often just miss entirely. It's about seeing past the spreadsheet, really, and understanding the human side of things.
Okay, so let's unpack that crucial first step then. It sounds like it's all about perception. You, as the buyer, you need to position this seller financing thing not as like, oh, the bank said no, some kind of concession,
Right.
but as a smart, maybe even sophisticated investment strategy for the seller.
Exactly. If you walk in and say, hey, can you carry the note because I couldn't get a bank loan?
Right.
Well, you've already lost. Game over.
Right. It screams desperation.
Yeah.
It does. It puts the seller on the defensive immediately. And let's face it, historically, seller financing has sometimes been linked with, properties that are struggling or buyers who couldn't qualify elsewhere. Our job, your job, is to completely flip that script.
Okay.
So by framing it as the smartest financial move for someone like Eleanor, you instantly elevate the conversation. It's not desperation anymore. It's strategy. It's about a savvy investment. That changes the whole tone.
So how do you actually do that? How do you phrase it? How do you talk to Eleanor about this in a way that clicks? You've got to speak her language, right? Hit those pain points. Maybe something like, Eleanor, most park owners we work with, especially folks who've built a real legacy like you have here at Maplewood, like, they're looking for an exit, sure, but without the massive headache, and crucially, without getting slammed by taxes on a huge lump sum. So instead, they're opting for a smarter path. They choose to act as the bank. It's a fantastic way, really, to keep their investment working for them, giving them that guaranteed income, but completely without the daily stress of management or tenant calls or, repairs.
That phrasing is incredibly effective because it hits Eleanor's main worries head on. The hassle, the taxes, the uncertainty of managing a big chunk of cash. You're not just offering to buy her park, you're basically offering her a ticket to those European cruises, completely stress-free. You're turning her active headache into passive income. That's the aha moment. She realizes, wait, there's a solution that actually gives me peace of mind and financial security.
Okay, here's where it gets really strategic, really interesting. Before you even mention a purchase price, you need to isolate their current take-home number.
Yes.
This sounds like a key psychological anchor point.
Oh, it's absolutely critical. This is about setting a low anchor in the negotiation. And when we say anchoring, we just mean setting an initial reference point that influences everything else, right?
Right.
So by understanding and then focusing the conversation on the seller's actual take-home pay, what really lands in their pocket each month after all the effort and costs, you make your offer sound way more appealing than just tossing out a big, potentially taxable lump sum number.
Yeah.
You're talking their reality. A lot of park owners, especially those who've been doing it forever, like Eleanor, they don't always calculate their true time-adjusted income. They just know what comes in.
Exactly. So you might phrase it carefully, something like, Eleanor, I'm genuinely curious. After all the expenses, manager salaries, and let's be honest, all the headaches and late night calls, What's your actual monthly take home? And then the pivot. What if we could give you that same amount, maybe even a little bit more, but with absolutely zero effort from you? Zero calls, zero stress. It's direct, it shows empathy, and it forces them to compare their current grind with a much easier future you're proposing.
And if we connect this back to the bigger picture,
Mhm.
you're not just buying a piece of property from Eleanor. You're buying her freedom, her peace of mind. Think about it. She's probably been dealing with that park for decades. Every broken pipe, every late rent check, every tenant squabble, it adds up.
Yeah, the accumulated stress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by offering to match or beat her net take-home passively, you're not just talking dollars and cents. You're speaking directly to her desire for a different life, an easier life. That makes your offer incredibly compelling on a really personal, emotional level, something no bank offer can touch.
Okay, so once you've grabbed their attention with that powerful idea, you then need to really lay out the specific benefits, right? The personal perks of seller financing. This is where you connect the money to her goals, like those cruises.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest ones, often totally missed, is the tax benefits. When Eleanor sells for a big lump sum, that whole profit could trigger massive capital gains taxes, a huge chunk taken out right away.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's a big hit. But with seller financing, she's not getting one giant payment. The income is spread out, deferred over years. This simple strategy can keep her in a much lower tax bracket each year. We could be talking tens, even hundreds of thousands in tax savings over the long term. And it's not just the money saved, it's avoiding that single scary tax event. That alone is often a huge motivator, maybe more than getting a slightly bigger number up front.
And then you've got the passive income angle, which sounds incredibly appealing. You emphasize that the park, which has been her active job for decades, chasing rent, fixing things, managing people, can now become totally passive. She gets a guaranteed check month after month, direct deposit. Doesn't have to lift a finger, answer a single call, worry about a broken water heater.
Right.
For someone like Eleanor looking at retirement, that's not just a game changer. It's a whole new life, isn't it? It lets her actually go on those cruises.
And that ties directly into the return on investment. You pose the question to Eleanor, okay, you get this lump sum, where else could you put it to get such a good, secure return with zero effort? You point out strategically that the interest rate you'll pay her on the loan is probably much, much better than a savings account or a CD or even most bonds right now. You're offering a solid, secure return on an asset she already knows inside and out her own park. It's not some risky stock market play. It's predictable income from something tangible. You're essentially making her the bank, but without any of the usual bank headaches. She gets the income, you handle the asset. It's a brilliant setup for her.
Okay, but no negotiation is perfectly smooth. Sellers like Eleanor, they're bound to have objections, worries, especially if this seems like a new idea to them. So the key, it sounds like, is being ready. Anticipating those concerns and handling them confidently without missing a beat. That's how you build trust.
Yes, exactly. And what's really powerful here isn't just knowing the answers. It's the act of confidently addressing her fears. That's what shifts you from just a buyer to a trusted partner. You turn potential deal breakers into chances to reinforce all the benefits we just talked about. It shows you've thought this through from her perspective.
Okay, let's tackle a common one. What if Eleanor just says, look, I want all my money now, I just want to cash out and be done? That feels like a natural reaction, right? Especially if she's tired.
Totally natural. And your response needs to be empathetic but firm. Something like, Eleanor, I completely understand wanting that immediate closure. A lot of sellers feel that way initially. But let me ask you this. If you had that big pile of cash today, where would you realistically put it to get a guaranteed, say, 6 or 7% return with absolutely zero risk and zero effort involved? The truth is, most people just let it sit in the bank earning almost nothing, or maybe they make a risky investment they don't fully grasp. Quote, with our approach, you get to be the bank. You make a fantastic secure return on an asset you know better than anyone, and we do all the heavy lifting. It reframes it from getting cash now to generating secure wealth easily.
Okay, good answer. What about the other big fear? What if you stop paying? What happens then? Am I out the park in the money? That's a huge worry for someone becoming a lender.
Absolutely legitimate concern. You hit it directly. That's a very fair question, Eleanor, and honestly, it's why seller financing, when structured right, is actually incredibly secure for you. Here's the great part. Your collateral is the park itself, Maplewood Estates. And unlike a bank, we're not just a name on paper, we're actively on the ground, making improvements, increasing the park's value.
Ah, okay.
So, and this is a big, if anything ever went wrong with our payments, you wouldn't just get your park back. You'd get back a park that's significantly more valuable because of the work and money we've already put into it.
Yeah.
This really highlights your security and makes you look very different from some faceless bank. It shows commitment, stewardship.
So it all comes down to structuring a deal that's genuinely win-win, finding that sweet spot where both sides feel like they're getting a great outcome.
Precisely. For the deal to really work for Eleanor, and for you, it needs fair and attractive terms. That starts with a reasonable down payment, usually somewhere between, say, 10 to 25%. For you, the buyer, it shows you're serious, you have skin in the game. For Eleanor, it gives her some immediate cash for those cruises or whatever, and it boosts her confidence in you.
Makes sense.
Then you need a fair interest rate. This gives Eleanor that strong, predictable income stream we talked about, often way better than alternatives. For you, it's usually more flexible than bank rates and terms. There's often a trade-off here, right? Maybe a slightly lower down payment means a bit higher interest rate, which could be perfect for Eleanor's income needs.
Right, finding the balance.
And finally, a realistic term for the loan. Typically 5 to 15 years feels about right. That gives you enough time to operate the park, improve it, maybe eventually refinance with a traditional bank if you want. And for Eleanor, it guarantees that steady passive income for a good chunk of her retirement, letting her plan those trips without financial stress. Each of these down payment, interest rate, term, they aren't just numbers. They're levers you adjust together to craft the perfect solution for Eleanor's specific situation and your ability. That's what makes it irresistible.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you, the listener? It's really not about just one technique, is it? Or some clever trick. It's a fundamental shift in how you approach the deal. You're not just a buyer looking for an asset. You're positioning yourself as a partner. You're offering a smarter, easier, and frankly, a more human way for someone like Eleanor Vance to reach her own goals. You're solving her problems, maybe even before she fully realizes them herself. Yeah, this deep dive really makes it clear. Seller financing, when you position it and structure it the right way, it genuinely transforms a simple sale into a strategic financial partnership. It offers this unique mixed tax advantages, truly passive income, secure returns that for a seller like Eleanor often blows the idea of an immediate lump sum right out of the water. It's understanding the seller's psychology just as much as the financials.
And zooming out just a bit, this really highlights a basic truth in almost any negotiation. Any business deal, doesn't it? Understanding the other person's underlying needs, their fears, their personal goals, going beyond just the price tag, that's absolutely key to crafting deals that are not just good, but truly advantageous and lasting. It's really empathy put into practice, and that builds incredible goodwill.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. As you think about your next move, maybe it's an acquisition, maybe it's another kind of negotiation, entirely ask yourself this question. How can I offer not just a solution, but a smarter, easier way for the other party to get what they really want? How can I make them feel secure, respected, maybe even make them the bank in a deal where everyone truly wins? Think about that powerful framing. How might it change your approach? Until next time on The Deep Dive.